Hi guys, what's going on? What's going on? Happy Sunday to everyone. I hope everybody is having a spectacular weekend. Okay, I'm super excited for tonight's recording. And the reason being is because last week was such an amazing week to learn off of. Last week's analysis, last week's charts, last week's market movement is something to really take notes on because there won't always be picture perfect setups. Sometimes on Sunday night calls, we'll come into the market and it'll be like our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed. And it's like, boom, bang, this is going to happen this week, so forth and so on. And then sometimes we have to take things step by step. So I don't know how many people will recall. You guys can go back in the Telegram group as well as go back on the YouTube video and literally in bold, okay, in all caps on the YouTube video as well in you guys Telegram group, I put that confirmations are going to be the key going into this week's analysis. And the reason being is because we had a main zone as well as a trend line that we needed clarification on before we could come out with our full analysis of what the trade would be for the week. So again, it's perfect learning wise because you have to take things step by step in trading. That is what avoids blown accounts. That is what avoids major drawdown. That is what protects your accounts, taking it step by step, trading what you see opposed to what you think. Okay. So I'm getting ready to share my screen. You guys know that typically I will go into the past analysis and then go into where we are in the market now. Tonight, I want it to be more so of a teaching call, but we will look at where the market is now, but it's very similar to what last week was. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm actually going to go to the YouTube video from where we were last week. So if we go here and let's just look, was in a trade and I was like, hey, this looks like this is going to break through this zone. So put your stop losses in profit opposed to just having it take profit because it looked like it could go way higher. This is an example of that. So you see how this is so much literally bullish momentum breaking through this zone. That's confirmation that I'm not done pushing. Then we had the retest to retest again here, break, retest, and then price continued to move forward. Now, we got to our foundation level. This was yesterday. Price literally gapped down. We had a gap down when the market opened, which just kind of solidified this more as a trend line. Price consolidated here. As you guys know, foundation level price consolidates. Now, what I'm looking for and what I need to see, which is why this trend line is going to be super important, is when this pulls back, right? I want to make sure it doesn't continue. I want to make sure this isn't a break and retest of this higher zone that I have going through here in this foundation level. So meaning when price gets to this level, this is going to tell me everything I need to know about this structure, unless you're trading minor structure all throughout, like scalping. But safety wise, I need to see if this is going to break. Because as you see, this is starting to form heavy, but again, we don't know when it's going to be over. Not only that, like you see, the highest this pushed up was 1.28. Okay, so let's just talk about that. And then let's talk about, and again, go back and watch that video and take notes on it. But let's talk about where we are and what actually happened. All right. Again, there are multiple times where I wrote in the Telegram group, I was trying to keep you guys abreast step by step, but I want to talk about where we are. And I had put a screenshot with notes in you guys' Telegram group as the week went on to show you guys ultimately, again, we don't control the market. We just react to it. So remember here, I talked about this purple zone. We had a break and retest of the zone. Then we talked about the buy could be finished, but it also could possibly be not. And we needed to take it step by step. And I wanted to make sure that this wasn't a break and retest of this higher zone / foundation level. So if we look through here, put this back to where it was. If we look through here, right? So all of this consolidating here. Now, again, foundation levels, we know ultimately that means consolidation. So where we were in the market last week was we were here. Just ignore all of these notes for now. We didn't have a fib structure yet because there was no fib structure to be drawn yet. We were literally here. And then I even updated you guys in the group where I talked about, like, of course, scalpers could have taken this to this trend line because we knew even when I talked about on the call, like this had to go to this trend line. Then at that point, I had drawn a major and a minor. So I had this minor coming through here and then this major going through here. We would need both of them to break and retest to really determine direction. But when I talked about, like, if you're more of, let's say, a scalp trader or understand structure, I even talked about this in a group where if you are more of an advanced trader, then you can take these things where you have the ultimately step by steps. Okay, so here, this is where we were on the call. Again, blah, blah, blah. So we can just ignore this purple one. We wanted to make sure price was done with its momentum. So meaning that, let's say I put this back right here, we wanted to make sure price wasn't going to keep making higher highs as it did to the left. We wanted to make sure, like, okay, this was actually the structure of a pullback. So once price came to this trend line here, let's put this on 10 speed. Once price came to this trend line here, we ended up having a break of that trend line. And then opposed to having like a retest of the trend line, again, we had consolidation. So we had the minor trend line break. We started to have consolidation all through here. Again, foundation levels. So we're not really like surprised by that. Then we ended up having like a pullback of these highs. So red box, blue box, green box for people who like are more advanced and really understand that structure, ultimately breaking this major trend line, dropping down to our negative 27 TP for, again, my more advanced traders that understand how to trade within that consolidation level. However, this break was a retest. Okay, so price broke and retest again the zone opposed to the trend line, because when we got to the trend line level, what we had was momentum. So we didn't have where we have like wick exhaustion off of this trend line pushing down. We had a lot of bullish momentum, ultimately forming higher highs and higher lows all throughout. And then producer price index came out later on in the week, consumer price index literally skyrocketing this. And again, on a higher time frame, again, go back and watch the last week's call. So you guys can see from a higher time frame perspective. You guys know that I use a different broker for my major structure. So previously we were literally all in this consolidation. This past week, we finally broke the highs of this past consolidation. So this broke, retested here. Wednesday, this broke and retested the high of this consolidation, and then ultimately just continued into this buy structure. Now, we can actually, now that we have a high point for this, we can actually go ahead and put a fib structure. Let's put a smaller fib structure right here, but let's not forget where we are on the major fib structure. So we have not pulled back past 23.6, which we know overall, that means continuation on a higher, that means continuation, like price can keep continuing or consolidate here. If we look here, right, we still have to be mindful of the overall fib structure of where we are, but honestly, like where we are, this is super, super bullish. So still, like, my analysis pretty much the same. Honestly, I have my stop loss in profit. So I've just been riding it all week. The stop loss that I told you guys that I had put in profit before, again, we've just literally been making higher highs all throughout here. I would need a pullback in order to change my bias. Now, of course, we know a pullback has to happen, right? Let me actually go back to my trading charts. We know the pullback has to happen on this structure at some point, but right now we just don't have any You know what I'm saying? Like it's still very bullish. So until I have a confirmation for a sell, and again, we haven't really had a full pullback. We've just been literally making higher highs all throughout. So even all of these, like I know I was on higher time frame before, but I'm gonna put this on this smaller one too. These are 23.6s all throughout. So let's start here at the lower point, point A to point B, 23.6, again, price continued. 23.6, again, price continued. Then right here, same thing, same thing. So we have 23.6 all throughout, which again means continuation. So until we have like an actual stopping point where price is like, I mean, I feel like this is pretty step by step. And again, that's why I wanted to reiterate the teaching from last week. It's just like we just have to take this step by step until you have an actual structure break. Now, again, I do need price to pull back at some point, but it's not if it's gonna happen, is when it's gonna happen. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, so be on the lookout for a pullback, but you don't want to jump in that too soon. Like, even when I was talking last week, where I talked about you don't want to hop in buys at the top of structure, that is when that was here, right? It wasn't until we had confirmed pullback that you could have got in for more buys. But even like at the top of this impulse, you had to wait for this to pull back before you could hop in. Top of this impulse, waiting for price to pull back. Like you have to wait on your structure to pull back before you can hop in any of these trades or um this analysis. And then also, I mean, pretty much I was looking at the DXY also. Let's go over here. Like, where we are right here, this will probably do something like this. Yeah, and then continue lower. So then, and again, the DXY doesn't move alone. Like, there are other factors that can shift this in regards to like, GU gold, so forth and so on. But that will ultimately mean for the opposite that GU would be have a slight like if we did it based off of the DXY, which again you need your confirmations first, that means that GU would basically again do the opposite. So we would have a small push up on GU, then a pull back, depending on how far and how deep this would even pull back when it does pull back, then to continue higher in your structure. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, and that's if we're going off of the DXY. But again, in real life, like you have to take these step by step. So I have my stop loss and profit, and I just really was like riding it. Um, for you guys that's not in this, that's not experienced, maybe look at other peers for the week, but still be learning from this structure because it's a good structure to learn from. And then also like don't force your trades and don't force your entries. Let's actually hide all of these notes from last week. This and this. So yeah, this is where we are. I would say this one's invalid now, so we can just delete that. But look at how bullish this is. Even on last week's video when I talked about how high price had gone up on GU, I like there were so many people that's like, no, it's pulling back, it's pulling back, it's pulling back. I'm like, yeah, but you gotta be mindful of those highs just because the price was so bullish. It's still so bullish. So I just want to see again, this could pull back a little bit here. Don't trade anything without confirmation, guys, because this is really just going off the DXY just so I could give you guys something for tonight. But actually, I would have this a little bit going. I'm gonna say because this could probably consolidate in this whole little area for the night in regards to consolidation, but this lane here. Now, I'm not really basing this off of negative 61.8. It could very well reverse at that, but because we pulled back to 23.6, I'm not really, it's just like you got to take this step by step, honestly. Where we are, the safest thing is to take it step by step. If I had to do it based off of the DXY, that would be the analysis. But again, I don't base things solely on the US or solely on the DXY because the Great British Pound, GBP, USD, they like the Great British Pound could definitely heavily sway what that analysis would be. But if I had to base it off of that, that is what that structure will look like. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Take it step by step. Let me go ahead and go into the questions for tonight. It wasn't really no full, like long analysis. All right, let me pull this. You guys know, like a couple weeks ago when I was in a trade. I don't know why this looks like this. All right. In a trade, and I was like, okay. So, oh, my screen's not sharing. Okay, let's get into the questions. I don't. All right, so this is spam. Believe that. Okay. All right, so questions. How can one backtest and practice entries? I've been using a replay tool to practice on past dates. Is this advisable or is there anything I'm missing? Yeah, you can 100% use the backtesting or the replay tool for back testing. I actually 100% advise that, but you have to have a strategy in order to do it. If you do it based off of structure and how I teach, then 100% you're not missing anything. I definitely use the replay all the time, but you have to just like be consistent in whichever way you're approaching the market. Two, how can one trade with a day job? If the answer is swing trading, what time frame should I be using for entries? Um, Swing trading is more so based off of personality type opposed to, a day job. Like you can definitely be an intraday trader with a day job. So you have to kind of clarify that within yourself. Um, I'll maybe answer that on another platform where I go deeper into that question. But definitely watch the trading plan videos because that will probably give you more clarity on that. Should one have three confirmations before taking a trade, especially when price is consolidating? Um, look at price. Would you take a position based off of many confluences or just support and resistance? I'll never just take a trade off of support and resistance alone. I typically always have multiple confluences. So I don't need to look at that time frame just because that would be my answer to that question. Like definitely multiple confluences. And the more confirmations you have, the better. So when you said, should I have 3 confirmations? The more confirmations, the better. Now, sometimes you're able to just kind of like look at where the market is. Like, let's say you're at a level of support or resistance and you're also at a negative 61.8. Like, let's say you have those 2 confirmations, but left, you were literally in a consolidated area. You can take that trade as long as as long as your structure is correct. And let's say you're at a support level and you know you're looking for buys anyway, from that actual structure. Now, once it gets to the top where it hits resistance, it could shoot back down. That is why you would take profit. But if you're already looking for buys and then you're at a support area and then you're at a negative 61.8, or you have another confluence to say, hey, I need to take a buy in this position, you could definitely execute that. What are the indicator templates used for the CDLJ, JLM in the top panel of your charts, and how do they work? I don't use indicators. It's just when I was learning, I just had different stuff. Like the D is literally divergence. Like D is just divergence on my chart. The J, I was building is this divergence right here? I was building a indicator at the time. So it stands for Jessica, it stands for Lane. Um hold on. I feel like I just saw a little bit of divergence, but I'll let price form some more before we go into that. Before we get over our heads. And then how frequent do you do top-down analysis? I look at it weekly. I don't do it every day. I look at where I am weekly. So no different when I'm on these calls with y'all, and I'll go to the higher time frame in regards to the 4 hour. Now my monthly, weekly, daily, I don't need to look at those every time I hop on a chart. But like you see, even when I analyze with you guys, like last week as well as this week, I went to the 4 hours to get the overall perspective before I just hop down into my like day-to-day trading. Sis, are there any plans to visit East Africa again? Would love to meet the community. I would love to go to Africa again, but right now I am raising a baby and I have another one on the way, so definitely not anytime soon. But of course, one day again in life. Hey, Jess, thank you for these teachings, these videos where you just teach uninterrupted are so helpful. You have no idea. Thank you for everything you do. You're a gift to this world. Thank you so much. It's crazy. I have so many people like that say they like these solo videos better. I do miss the engagement of the Sunday night calls, but um you guys, I do this for you guys. So if you like solo videos better, then solo videos they will be. Right here, the solo videos are better for me to grab. So glad you decided on this. Can I just say I had a few aha moments and I'm only 15 minutes in. That is great. Thanks a ton, Jess. I have learned that divergence is good, but confirmation is better. Confirmation is 100% better. Hey, Jess, I appreciate the call on Monday, and it's great to hear total feedback without interruption, but I prefer Sunday calls to actually get live questions answered at least 2 times for the month. To me, it seems a bit more interactive, in my opinion. I do miss it, but based off of votes, people like this way better. Maybe we can incorporate it maybe like every last Sunday of the month where we do like when everybody's on here. We'll see. We'll take it into account. Hello, Jessica. Many thanks for answering my questions. Best regards, Powell. Hey, Powell. This is amazing. Thank you, Jess. I really appreciate your hard work. Hey, Jess, it's been a long time since I've checked in. It's always been a pleasure to receive the gems of knowledge and experience you share. Thanks. Great. Thank you, guys. Okay, questions. Thank you for taking our questions. I have 2 questions if time permits. On gold, can you review the indications that you gave with certainty that gold was going to shoot up on Thursday? It started a trend line from the long wick, June, July, valid trend line, uncertain because it cuts through price, yet didn't have a break and retest. So sometimes, just like the one that I had deleted off of this GU structure where I had that trend line through here and it was no longer valid because as you see, structure started in a different trend. You said gold. That where I had gold buying here that Thursday, or where are you talking about? What, July Thursday? This was the last buy I took on gold, and this was a Monday. So I don't know which Thursday you're talking about. Oh, this Thursday? I don't know if this is what you're talking about, but it could be a trend line breaking retest. I'm not quite sure. So I need clarification on that because this is for the trend line. July 8th. July 8th to Tuesday. Tuesday. July 8th until Tuesday. Yeah, I don't, July 8th here till Tuesday at 600. I mean, at 6 o'clock. I don't, like, this would be minor structure all through here. So I wouldn't put a trend line. Like, I would just put, like, you see out here, this is all lows. Like, I would more so go along this with a zone than putting a trend line on this structure right here. But you can put a trend line on current structure. Yeah, you could put a trend line there, but I wouldn't have a trend line from your July 8th one. And then this will be a zone. Let me see. Where's my, so I have the highs right here. I would make this a different zone just because this resistance, I mean, you could just, I don't like my zones this big because I just feel like they're pointless if you make them that big. I would just put a minor zone on this. Because it's minor structure. But I wouldn't put a trend line there. All right, let's go back. Hi, Jessica. Question on reversals. Could you please explain how and when you know whether it's going to be a correction or a complete trend change? Would it be through a break and retest of a major trend line or a couple of higher highs and higher lows in a row? Is there any way to know which it will be before the reversal happens? You will never know before the reversal happens in regards to if it will be multiple higher highs and higher lows, or but it would definitely be through the break and retest of a trend line or a structure point. Just like, for instance, that high that we just retested on that GU, it was the continuation. But remember, when it comes to minor structure, a pullback is a downtrend on minor structure for a continuation going higher. So it also, like this, your question has to deal with what time frames you're looking at too. That's more of a complex question, just because the time frames are very important. So definitely, I want you to rewrite your question, um, because when you talk about a trend change, like a trend will change on a 15-minute and go into a downtrend, but on an uptrend, it's just a pullback. So that's what I need you to clarify for me. Um, hi. Thanks for the value you dish out. Um, oh, thank you so much. Okay. When I'm looking for the trend line break and retest inside of a fib to confirm the continuation of trend, I often struggle to find more than one confluence, with that being the trend line break and retest. I know how much you hammer home the importance of multiple confirmations, so I won't enter, then the trade goes without me. Then I'll enter next time it happens so it doesn't leave without me and it stops me out. When I'm looking for reversals, I see multiple confirmations. It's just when I'm looking for a continuation of a trend that I struggle a bit. My question is, what am I doing wrong in regards to confirmations? I meticulously watch your videos and study everything you say and take notes. But when it comes to a specific type of entry, I find myself a bit lost. Thanks. Um, if you don't have more than one confluence, don't take the trade. Um, this is FOMO right here. When I'm looking for reversals, I see multiple confirmations. It's just when I look for a continuation of a trade, I struggle a bit. You have to change time frames in order to see them because, again, let's just look. Let me just show you what I mean. So, for instance, this higher time frame, right? I know I'm on the 15-minute, but I'm just showing you the entry on a 15-minute. This is a break and retest, and I have a zone. If you look left, these were areas of support now turned into resistance. That's multiple confirmations for this to continue selling here. If I look at like even the structure we were in this past week, right? When I had my breaks or anything of that sort, even when we were in like, let's say here, this area here, when we came to this negative 27, we had a TP level as well as now this would have been more complicated because this is really like red box, blue box, green box, but it's just on a smaller time frame. But here we had a TP level. We're also at the demand of a zone. We don't have confirmation that this is pushing throughout or pushing out of that area. No different than, let's say, I'm trying to find one that's not as complicated because some of these. All right, so let's say the continuation of this sale. When price was continuing in this sale, we had divergence, we had a zone, we had a fib level to continue to sell down once the pullback was over. So remember, impulse, correction, continuation, right? So this is what confirmed. You see what I'm saying? So you kind of really just got to be patient on the setups if you can't really see the step by steps clearly yet. Y'all definitely be coming with these questions. It's a lot. Maybe I should do different calls for questions or have a whole separate um thing for questions. Dang, lost the one that I was on. Okay. Hmm. Did that, did that. Okay. We just got done with that one. Okay. Thank you so much for the time you take, Impact. I've traded past long time, took a break. How did you modify your fib tool? Like, which numbers did you remove and which ones did you keep and why? When trading, do you trade specific pairs and specific time zones? You asking questions that's on almost every video in the past. Um, so I want you to go back and rewatch old videos. When I modified my fib, I just added numbers. I didn't remove anything. I just added my take profit levels for the most part. Well, my fib extension levels. When trading, do you trade specific pairs and specific time zones? Yes, I do. When it comes to fundamental analysis, what do you look out for? Definitely watch old videos because these are questions that I've answered multiple times before. Um, hey Jess, I know you don't recommend brokers, but I use a major regulated broker. I find that would take even with spreads taken into account, they often execute stop loss or TPs at a different price shown on the chart whenever price gaps over TP into profit. The account PL reads a loss and won't let me close or move my stop loss in a profit. Consequently, I'm more worried about whether the broker and their chart will work about the price moving into loss, and it messes with my psychology because I feel like I'm gambling. Is this kind of regular glitch? No, you need to change brokers. Is this a regular glitch to be expected with all brokers, or should I look elsewhere? Definitely look elsewhere. And thank you so much, my love. Um, thanks for taking questions here. I hope you can see mine. I understand that when divergence occurs, it often signals a future price reversal. However, I've noticed that reversals seem to vary when price hits a level of support resistance line. At that point, it might initially suspect divergence on a higher time frame, but to confirm it, one needs to go to a lighter time frame to actually see divergence clearly on an RSI. No, you just have different divergences on different time frames. If it's on a higher time frame, then you have to understand that the move is going to take a while to play out, and then you can have divergence on a smaller time frame that will happen way faster than a higher time frame. Um, so no, you cannot rely on that single-handedly. I see divergence. No, no, to your question. If you go to a 5-minute chart, you see divergence on RSI, can you trust that it will take place at an hourly level? No. Because that divergence on a 5-minute, first off, I don't even trade on a 5-minute. But the divergence on a 5-minute, you can't have divergence on a 5-minute and it will go into, let's say, 15 pips of the opposite of whatever it is that you're looking for. But that 5 minutes that's making up the hourly level. So you can't say, oh, because I have 5-minute divergence, that overall is going to happen on the hour, because that takes so long to come across. I mean, so long to form. Um, yeah, no. Okay, you mentioned the use of volume. Do you perhaps have leading indicators? No, I don't use, when I use volume, I just look at momentum and exhaustion. I don't use indicators. Questions for the OGs and Jets. I'm having trouble gauging momentum. What would be our approach for that? I'm wondering, is it possible to see in the moment, or should I walk away and come back? Don't walk away and come back. You could definitely see it in the moment, but you have to understand structure in order to see it. So let's say I have a lot of momentum on the 1 hour time frame. Let's say I have a big bullish candle. That's multiple smaller candles that's making up with bullish momentum on the lower time frames. But let's say I have exhaustion on the higher time frame. Exhaustion on a higher time frame will look like a bullish candle. Let's say I have an exhaustion for a sell. So let's say I go up to a trend line, I have exhaustion literally pushing down, and then I have like my candle is exhaustion, the wick is at the top. On a lower time frame, that looks like a bullish candle and then a large bearish candle taking over. Because on a higher time frame, that says again, I tried, I bought, but then sellers took over and pushed momentum down. So you just gotta like make sure you're constantly in the market, because the more you start to see like candle structure and stuff like that, um, it'll make sense. I love the Zoom better because I like to meet everyone, but whatever is better for you, Jess. What makes valid green box, blue box, red box entries? I made this type of entry on gold, which I lost, but realized it didn't coincide with structure. And I use that as my only confluence. Thank you for your help and teaching. May God richly reward you. Thank you so much. So I talk about on Sunday night calls all the time how I don't teach red box, blue box, green box, and you have to be advanced to see it, because it's literally just support and resistance. And so until you master structure, it will be inconsistent with wins. So that is why in my course, I teach trendline break and retest only, because that's common sense, where somebody will constantly be able to make profit from it. Red box, blue box, green box is more of a thing of where you have, again, support, broken, retested as resistance, and then drop. But you have to master structure in order to do it. Otherwise, you could literally hop in this and then the market just keep pushing up. So that is why it's not taught in the course, because until somebody masters trading, they won't see that consistently. So you have to keep practicing in order to see that consistently, and one day it'll just click. Hey, Jess, the biggest problem I have with structure is I don't know when the correction is over. You have to keep practicing, you guys, because when it comes to a correction being over, like when you keep practicing, you will mark up more and more things on your chart. Now, you don't want your chart to be convoluted and so like where it's just confusing, but there will be areas in which it will indicate, okay, like all of these different things, for instance, right? This correction, this impulse price corrected, okay? This is at a zone right here. Like there's so many things that play a part, but until you perfect your charts and master this skill set, it's not going to make sense. You got to constantly be on your charts. Is it a 2-week backup on your automated class? Nope. You can get the automated course whenever you want. I do not teach privates anymore because I don't have the capacity. Outside of trendline break and retest, do you make entries off the zone break and retest as well? If so, do you still use fibs for exits, or you're looking for the next stopping point? I always look for the next stopping point, but if my fib is before the zone or the next stopping point, then I'll use my fib. I use whatever is closest to whatever entry that I have based off of the structure that I'm looking at. Hey, Jess, how do we handle when price has gone to negative 61.8 but continues? If it's minor structure can always easily be broken, so it will always break that negative 61.8. But a negative 61.8 on minor structure is a pullback, and then you just adjust your fib to that next high. I prefer to record it just from the area that you're looking at on the week smooth. Why did you say it's not divergence? Because my eyes are steaming divergence. Somebody else asked me that about the class or about the call last week. The reason being was because even though we started to have like, formation of, let's say, highs, I just like mine to be more, hold on, where were we? We were like through here, right? Yeah, because that was where I drew this trend line. Um, so this, right? This goes up beautifully, right? But this right here, that didn't really, like, I don't like flat divergence, if that makes sense. Um, when I look at my divergence and it's diverging, like I like for two things to do. So you see how this is going down, but then I have this right here going up, and it's a clear up. It's not like flat like this. I don't like flat divergence. So that's the reason as to why I did not look at that as divergence. Hey, Jess, I hope I'm not interrupting your student's question. Can you please explain the Fibonacci percentages as to what they refer to? No, you have to get the course for that. I'm so sorry. There are certain things that I just won't reveal on YouTube. What is a good book to better understand fundamental news? You have to pay attention to basically fundamental news is just economics. So read up on macroeconomics. And just learn the economy for the most part. You could definitely look into like gross domestic products, producer price index, consumer price index, like things of that sort. It's a book that I do have upstairs. I'll take a picture of it and then um because I can't think of the name of it. As y'all see, it's literally midnight, or it's about to be midnight, and I'm super tired right now. So I feel like my brain is like shutting down, but I can't think of the name of the book right now. But I'll definitely um update you guys on it. Hi, Jessica. I want to sign up for your full course. The link is in the caption, so you definitely can. It's the course where we do homework assignments and submit them to you for a review. No, you have homework examples to go by. However, if you do them, you will definitely be successful, but you have to do them. If you get the course and you don't do the homework and you don't continuously work on your craft, you won't be successful at trading. But no, I can't. The amount of students that I have is no way I can check everybody's homework. Like, I have a baby, I have a husband, I have a baby on the way. I literally do not have the capacity to check homework. That is why I did the automated course. Um, do we get access to weekly Zoom calls? Yes. How many hours a week do you recommend dedicating to learning? It depends on your individual life, to be honest. Um, yeah, it depends on your individual life. You want to give yourself 6 months to learn the basics before trading. That's fine, but that's like, if you put a lot of work into it, that's definitely doable. But some people are on their charts all the time. Some people touch them a few days and then don't come back to them until a few weeks later. So depending on how consistent how consistent you are going to be, that would depend on how consistent your success will be. Please do not take your trades. Good morning, I'm from Nigeria. I'm Dominic. Please, do you take your trades on purely trendline breaking retest, or you wait for entries on a fib counter trend line to take your trades? I still wonder how you take your trades every week, but sometimes I will, dang it, in a trade, and I was like, man, what just happened? I still wonder how you take trades every week, but sometimes I will not see a trade to take in 3 weeks. Keep being on your charts, guys, because some of these questions is like, I can't make you see it, but the more you're on your charts, you will be able to see it. Um, I don't take things just on purely on trend line breaking retest. Again, I have multiple confluences that I look for. What's the minimum confirmations you need per trade? I would say the more confirmations you have, the better probability you're gonna have on your trade. So I would say at least 3. 2, if you have like, well, no, because if you're at a zone or whatever, then you have multiple confirmations. So honestly, I would say like 3. Um, hey Jessica, I repeatedly watched and downloaded over 95% of your YouTube videos. I miraculously got to know about you from the comment section from one of your proteges. I'm in Africa. Um, just keep at it and keep watching the YouTube videos, because there are a lot of students that I have in Africa that have been successful from the YouTube videos. And if I were to give you the course, I would need to give it to all of them. Hey, just as a scalper, I trade on 5 minutes. Should I pay attention to 4 hour and higher, or no? I'm in a trade for like 30 minutes, maybe sometimes longer. I just set alerts and leave. So I'm not as sure exactly how long, but I feel like I'm wasting time analyzing higher time frames. I get so tired analyzing for an hour, analyzing daily, 4 hour, 1 hour, and it'd be hard to continue analyzing the minor structure, which is important for me as a scalper. So I don't trade on 5 minute at all. And you should definitely pay attention to the higher time frame, because if you're only stuck on the smaller time frame and you don't pay attention to the higher time frame, then you're definitely going to lose money. You have to pay attention to everything cohesively. So I say all the time that minor structure doesn't go over major structure, and major structure doesn't go over minor structure. Is everything that works together cohesively. So just make sure you keep that in mind when you are trading. And then YouTube is better. Yes, a lot of people have said that. So that's pretty much it, you guys. That was a lot of questions. Definitely still write them, because that's the point of them. Like, I want you guys to be able to get your questions answered, but I don't know why that just exhausted me. But anyway, so I will see you guys next week. Again, this week you need to take this step by step. Just like last week, I am expecting the pullback at some point, but we haven't gone past that 23.6. Remember, even here, like, yeah, this is already starting to do its little buy right here. So again, if I had to base this based off the DXY, which I don't want to do single-handedly, but if I had to base it off of the DXY, this would be just pulling back a little bit to here, which I already started doing since we've been answering those questions. Honestly, make this your next move and then look to see what happens next. So if that breaks, look to see if we have a break and retest. But because this is so bullish, um, just we just need to again take this one step by step, just because even with this, like this is very, very bullish right here. And when I said that it could continue lower, I'm gonna actually draw a trend line on the bottom of this. There we go. So look to see how far price pulls back when it actually does pull back. But again, it's not if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. Again, this is still just very bullish. So we need to wait on our structure to give us like when that will be. Okay. Um, yeah. So that's pretty much it. Love you guys. Have a great night. And again, take this week step by step, just like last week, step by step, because I'm not really sold or married to a bias right now. I'm like literally, like, like the week before last, where I was just like, sell this. The week before that, buy that, like where they were crystal clear. Now that we're in uncharted territories, it's like, okay, let's slow down. Take this step by step. Okay. All right, you guys. So have a great night. I love you guys and toodles.